year I found an excuse to run away from it. I needed a bit of makeup, look better. So I lost a little bit of weight this year in preparation for that. I look good, right? Yeah. Alright, we're going to talk a little bit about, not a lot, jigging and popping over here. New Jersey bite, New York bite, Cape Cod. And we're going to talk about tackle technique, how to approach bluefin tuna. I know a lot of you guys are avid. Everybody's been fishing for a long time. I mean, if somebody want to jump in, add to it, I have no problem whatsoever. It's all about sharing information and provide it to the public and to everybody. And I love to see the community the way it's growing and where it started 3-4 years ago when it comes into jigging and popping and where we are right now. So I'm very happy, and I'm not, I hope you guys can be able to spread out the word to the outside. So for the future, I'm not looking to make money out of those seminars. It's not the idea. It's just to be able to promote the sport and be able to share it with a lot of people on the water and be respected to each other on the water. Because sometimes what we see on the water in other places, it doesn't bring the community and that experience good to the newbies. And we all want new blood coming in, to the sport. So I'm going to let Paul start with talking about rods, and we're going to jump into other things. And if somebody have anything to say or any question, I want you guys to jump in and ask. And before I start that, I fished with many of you over here, and I shared many experiences with a lot of people overseas and locally. So, and I know you guys know a lot, and you've been fishing with me for a long time. And if you feel you want to add to what we say, like I said, it's open, jump in, add something to what you think is right, what's wrong, and let's have a good experience, and hopefully we can do it like every month or 2 months. You guys are going to be the ambassador to bring it to the outside. So if you have that good experience and you benefit from it, go ahead, tell somebody else. And like I said, we're not looking for anything in return. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to do a little talk on fishing rods. Basically, tuna fishing rods for jigging and popping. I'm going to start on jigging. Basically, you guys know this is conventional spinning. What I want to tell you about is the tip action on a tuna rod. What you really want to look for is flexibility on the tip for you to work the jig. Deeper waters, you tend to have slightly stiffer tip because of the resistance to the water. So what you're really looking for is the bounce. And when it descends, it flutters. That's what entices the tuna. For conventional, it's actually, I find it a little easier. Because when you do conventional, it's really it's like a one motion kind of thing. When you crank the handle and your rod moves, it actually really uses the entire tip of the rod to bounce the jig. And if it's underwater, what you see is it starts to dock, left and right. And on the descent, it goes like this. So it goes and then down.
Just want to add something before. A lot of anglers in the Northeast, where we notice when it comes into jigging, they do the yo-yo. The yo-yo style has been productive, targeting cod and other species when you want to hug the bottom. But I would suggest to jig the whole water column from the bottom to the top, because we all know that tuna travel through the water column up and down. It's not good to stick to one area and just. I know some of you guys are could be tired or I don't feel like it, and you can get some hits by doing the yo-yo, but I would suggest to jig all the water column from the bottom to the top. And if you get 2 or 3 guys doing it at the same time, and in a different, like one guy starts and another guy waits for 10-15 seconds start, you're enticing that jigs all the time on the water. It keeps on coming up and down, up and down. There is something going on. And with that drift is going, you keep the fish coming in toward you if you end up with a bite. you end up with the whole school around, and that entices a bite or two. And when things happen like that, feel encouraged. Pick up a popping rod or a stick bait rod. Cast. Cast toward against the drift that you're coming. If your drift is coming, let's say, from the left to the right, and you get the bite, cast to the left. They're coming this way with you.
Yes.
And this way you don't get tangled up with anybody. Your line is not going to be under the boat. You're giving space to the other person too. And again, the guy, then you're always going to need somebody to be behind the helm. You cannot leave that post. 90-degree angle. You got to give the guy the angle, the right angle.
Always.
It's, I fished the Cape, and I tell you, as much as I like the Cape, as much as I get to a point sometimes to hate the Cape.
It's frustrating.
It's
too many boats.
Standing next to the captain, sometimes standing next to you, or your buddy standing next to you, you don't want this. You want the captain to be at the helm, you want that 90-degree angle, and you gotta talk. You gotta talk. If you don't talk, nobody knows what's going on. Where's your line? I don't know where's your line. I talk, back up, move to the left, move to the right. Honestly, John knows. No, seriously, you gotta talk. And the good things is like North Carolina guys, some of you guys fished with me in North Carolina for a long time. They got it, man. You don't say anything. You hook up, you set the hook, that guy, he moved the boat for you, set up the hook for you,
To the left.
and then he keep you in that 90-degree angle. It's 45. I mean, it's common sense. You just have to, if you don't see what's going on,
Just communicate with the captain.
it's all about communication in this game. So, popping rod, when it comes into the popping rod, we develop, lately what we've seen in the Cape, that most of the bite is becoming in the deeper water, in the deeper corner. 30, 40 feet, 50 feet. Sometimes the fish are shy, they're not coming out. Okay, we're switching to sinking lure or to swim bait. But sinking lure has been the best for us, and it's been the most productive lure in the past 2-3 years in the Cape. You can get them over here. Here is different, and I think the reason here is different than the Cape, that there's not much pressure per comparison to the Cape, and you guys communicate with each other. There's some respect among you guys in New Jersey, New York, which is great. And 4 or 5 guys work in the same area. They keep quiet about it. They do the right things. There's not much going on. So, don't be afraid to switch. Having 3 guys on board, setting up the drift. One guy do the popping, one guy do a stick bait, one guy cover up the bottom. Okay, and then one guy hook up on, let's say, on popper. Doesn't mean they're gonna hit on popper. They're traveling. They keep on moving.
They go in circles.
We don't want to be limited in our head. Oh, they're only hitting popper. Let's do poppers. If you guys, many of you fished with me. As soon as I hit a fish on a lure, I change my lure right away. I'm like, why are you doing it? Because I want to know. And you guys need to know as well what's going on. Don't be limited. The more you discover, the more you try different stuff, the more you get to understand, and it's knowledge. It's a shared knowledge.
Experience.
And sometimes they keyed in on one thing, which is a popper. I got it, but I still want to try something else. We got a fish on the box, right? Everybody's happy. Get another one is great. But that thing is to give it a shot or to try something else is good.
Because you never know what's going to hit next season.
Certain lures works better with single. Certain lure works better with trebles. So this is up to you what you want to do. I personally like, when it comes into popper, sometimes I like to use treble on the belly, single on the back, and if we catch a fish, we can jump into single on it. Don't be afraid from using the single. I think it's safer as well, and it's easy to release if you tend to release the fish.
Personally, I feel it's you have a better hookup ratio. Yes, if you compare one single point going through your mouth and 3 points, this is going to be so much easier. And also another reason why I refrain from using trebles, because if you get hooked to a fish, let's say on both sides here, if the fish turns, it's going to act as a fulcrum. It's going to pry it out from the fish's mouth. So that's one of the reasons why I'm using single. Yeah, and it allows you to swivel around, whereas this is stuck right there. So that's the difference between using treble and the single.
We lost many fish in the past due to trebles. I mean, and I'm sure many of you guys.
I mean, you've seen
know.
all the trebles that we've opened up. We opened a lot of trebles.
Comes into North Carolina, like, you know, Tom fished with me, Tom fished, Bogey, all of you guys fished with me in North Carolina, and we only use one single assist hook because it's all catch and release. And the hookup ratio on it is insane. I mean, you know, just imagine that fish coming into the lure, and the lure as big as this, and the mouth is open, wide open that much. It's not going to miss it. It's all about us as an angler to set up the hook properly and make sure. I mean,
How
sometimes
fast are we?
you miss it.
Can you guys explain
Comes back.
what you're doing when you set the hook? Because a lot of people don't
Okay.
understand like how aggressive that is. And
Oh, okay. Right.
Basically, when the fish hits, what it really does, it's not yet. It's sucking in. When they hit, they come up. It actually
It
pushes.
disappears. The lure
Yeah,
disappears.
It actually pushes the lure away from the mouth because now the water is gushing out from the fish's mouth. And then once it does that,
Suction.
now it sucks in. And the moment he feels the lure, he doesn't swallow. He's going to
gonna
try to
spit it
spit it
out.
out. And that's when you get hooked up. That's exactly when you get the hook up. And as soon as it hooks up, don't feel shy. Just set the hook.
Two,
not
three times.
once, not twice. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if you want. These are tuna, big fish. The gill plates are very, very tough. You want the hook to penetrate through. So you have to really set it like really hard. If you don't have an angle, someone's at your side, they're blocking you, do what the fly fisherman does. Like this. Yeah. As long as you set it. Yeah. And you will feel the fish run. And once he runs, that very first run, there's nothing you can do. Just let it run.
You know, talking about this, I just want to add one more thing. This is typical North Carolina. I've seen all the Japanese angler. A lot of people comes in. You know, new group comes in. You know, the communication is not that great, and they're new to the game in the beginning, and they're casting, and they're not expecting anything. And man, the surprise comes out of nowhere. They're chit-chatting with each other, and they're talking, and their eyes is not on their lure. And that fish comes out of nowhere. And the guy's taken in surprise, get driven all the way left and right, banging himself, you know, you name it. By the end, this is when it result of losing the fish. Because what happened now, you get the swallowing, the fish actually swallowed the lure. And the line is ended up on the corner, and it's going to be shaved no matter what you're going to do and how much. We're going to put pressure on it. You're in deep water. You're going to end up putting pressure. You're using the boat. You're using whatever you can, all your technique to do it, and you're going to end up losing the fish. So now where we end up? $100, $120 lure gone. Your heart is broken. Your friend is looking at you. You lost the fish, and on the top of that, we have a dead fish on the water.
Yeah.
So this is when it comes in as well to have a single assist. It does help. With a single assist, the fish have a better chance to survive.
Yeah.
You know, we pulled up some fish in the past was, you know, hook on the side, and they seems to be okay. So again, you know, you do whatever you want to do when you cast. Man, just keep your eyes, please, on that lure. Nothing else matters. You know, focus, your eyes has to be all the time on the lure. You want to chat, you want to bring me water, do whatever you want to do. Your eyes is always on the lure. And this is a key, because your mind is gonna function and is gonna trigger that instinct for you to set the hook. It's a combination. It's like a body language. And you'll understand it once you do it 1 and 2 and 3 times. It will come. If it doesn't come from the first time, it will come on the second time. You gotta pace yourself on it and say, okay, you know what, I'm dedicating half an hour, I'm gonna focus. If you're tired, it's fine, I understand. We all get tired at certain, but you gotta keep that things when you have a lure in the water that you're ready for a bite at any second, and it could happen at any second. And when we least expect it, that's when it comes. It does always.
Another thing is, for example, if you guys are using, say, a floating stick bait, I know everybody retrieves, and then it goes again, but if there are days where it's slow, nothing's going on, cast it out, leave it on the surface, don't work it. don't work it, just let it bob. The fish will take it. There's a reason why they do it. A lot of times over here, by us, you see all the clam boats, scallop boats. After shucking the clam or the scallop, what they do, they discard all the guts and every stuff in the water. And what this thing does, it floats and it follows the current. This will do the same, and they will take it. I've caught at least a dozen fish not working at all, just casting it out, doing my own stuff, talking to the captain, and all of a sudden, fish hits.
Yeah, that was what worked really
You've
well.
seen it before. I think
Like
yeah.
over the summer with the dolphins.
We
and
were
whales.
Is that a drifter or a rodeo? Is that
No, that's a riot. That's a riot.
We were just talking about this. We were testing the Race Point 300. We were together
In Cape Cod.
fishing in Cape Cod with Eric, and we didn't know the castability of the rod at that time. It was just under testing, and we just got it like 2-3 weeks. We didn't catch a fish for it yet. So I take the rod and I cast it with it, and I'm talking to Paul. I was like, okay, what do you think? How many lines we get out from it? I just 70 yard, 80 yard. What do you think? What do you got? And I was like, I don't know. And the bait is open, so I closed the bait, and all of a sudden, boom! We landed the fish. It was like 62, 63 inch fish. But it happened, and I've seen it happen many times. And many of you, I think, encountered that on the water. I do like, if you're using the stick bait, I like the pose. I see a lot of people like, they're boiling fast. The fish are boiling. I was like, come on, we gotta get ahead.
You gotta calm down. You really gotta calm down.
Man, I know it's
Talk
hard.
about like the speed of the
Yeah,
movement
yes.
and why
And
it's
don't, for
important.
bluefins or tuna fishing in general,
Slow,
don't go fast.
slow. They like it slow.
They like it slow. They really like it slow.
In terms of the technique, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're seeing
like when you
this-
so-
You cast, as a stick bait, you cast, tip of the rod supposed to be down, always.
Right.
So let's say this is a casting rod. Okay, I never cast and I'm
Yeah,
down.
always.
Right.
I'm down. And sometimes when you twitch, okay, you create that wobble on the lure and you let it pause.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta let it
Sweep.
pause.
Oh, I see. So-
Sweep, let it
sweep.
pause. When it pause, most of the time is when we get
That's
hit.
where you get a hit. When
They're coming,
stop.
they're looking. Okay, they're looking for the weakest
Fish
bait.
in the school, right?
The one that is injured, the one that they're not gonna create a lot of energy to get it. So, and
Sweep, pause, sweep,
yeah,
pause.
some people like to sweep to the left. Remember something, and I've noticed that with many other Japanese anglers. If you're a righty, you sweep to the left. This way, your hand is strong.
Yes,
This is
yes.
the strength. This is
Right,
the strength
right.
over here. When you do it this way, all what you do, you're pushing water.
Correct. What
You're pushing
lure
the
does,
lure is pushing water.
it's just gonna skip on the surface.
If you do what?
If you sweep it too
If you sweep,
fast.
if you sweep too fast and if you sweep this way.
Okay.
Some lures, if you're using treble, they will work with you. If you're using single, and you sweep this way, you're gonna be pushing the lure on the top.
Out of the
So,
So is your pose is obviously longer on a sinking bait than on a floating bait.
sinking bait, I'm gonna talk about sinking bait. No, I rarely pose on sinking bait, but I go slow. I'm gonna go through it.
So this is a popper.
This is a stick
This
bait.
is stick
We're
bait.
talking about stick bait. Stick bait, this is a stick bait.
Gotcha.
A flowing
It's flow.
stick bait.
So basically, when I put it on the water, it's
It's gonna sit like that.
gonna sit like that. The hand's gonna be exposed.
Right. So if you sweep it too
You sweep
fast,
it,
too hard,
it's gonna go
fly out of the
like that, and it's gonna stop.
What Sammy is trying to tell you, let's say you're a right-hander, right?
Yep.
This is your powerful arm.
Right.
When you start sweeping with your powerful arm, what it does is, if you go
Push.
this way,
It's gonna push it.
it's just gonna skip on the surface of the water.
You don't want it.
You don't want that. The right way to work a stick bait is, when you pull it down, you will see the head begin to dip. Once it starts dipping, one motion. Don't pause, don't
Right,
hesitate, just
right.
go. And slow.
Always belly on the line.
Yeah.
Always.
That's always
That's
slack.
the key.
So, when you retrieve, sweep. Retrieve the slack, sweep.
You wanna keep, when you go up over here, you wanna have a little bit of slack. Like 4 or 5 feet of slack. That slack, when you pull, this is what's gonna make the lure tight.
Yes.
I got you.
Yeah.
And if you sweep, just try it. Give it a cast. Don't have anybody on the front of you, and instead of sweeping to the left, try it to the right.
Which you prefer?
I prefer to the
Either
right.
To the right.
As a stick bait, I'd rather do it this way, and you'll see the action
If you do
completely
it-
different.
Yeah, if you do it this
Black
way,
and white.
Because now you're using the back muscles of your arm. Those are your secondary muscles. When you do this way, it's your primary muscle. So when you do this, your lure actually dips and it swims beautifully. No question. It will swim beautifully.
And I would suggest people to start with like something's not heavy, like 60 and 80 gram lure, 90 gram lure as a stick bait. If you want to follow this technique and try it, you don't have to go crazy. There's lures for $30, $40, and you know, give it a shot with them, see how it works, and you know, if you want to jump into something different in the future, you can. But stick bait is a key, I think, over here. I want to talking about popper. This is new and it started happening in the past 2 years. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't personally use popper in North Carolina because they become ballistic on it.
Yeah.
They come with expansion on it and they hook up their stuff and they have.
To a fish is
And they, you know, you gotta be careful with it. Like if you're using popper, you gotta have your eyes, and you can miss you can miss. The thing is, I feel with the stick bait, they key into it.
yeah, they follow.
You stop, they key in. With the popper, it's all more like
It's
they
like
agitate
they
it.
hit it and then they run away. With for a stick bait, they actually
Yeah. Some
stalk it.
some people use it without hooks overseas just to agitate fish while other cast.
That's exactly.
So it's
why
just
they
like to
follow.
you definitely bring fish from deeper water using poppers. I'm not a big fan of it, but for yellowfin tuna, no problem. For bluefin tuna, I would use it, but I wouldn't be, you know, I would be a little bit careful with it. Again, the popper, any kind of popper, I feel it's going to work way better with a treble on the belly, single on the back. But again, you know, like I said before, if you hook up your fish, you know, you're done with it, switch to single, or even switch to one single at the back or on the belly. Bluefin tuna, when it comes in to stick bait and sinking stick bait, believe it or not, they don't come to the back. They come to the head. It's always the head. It's always, that's why when we do a single assist in North Carolina, we run the assist to be here. And you can see it, because basically when it's swallowed, the head, when you know the head facing down, it's going to be much easier for the fish to swallow it. You know, when you hook up a fish on the tail, it's basically was hitting the front, and you ended up
Hold it or something.
right. So it's always the head.
Something to add on poppers. What Sami said, barely treble and then a single assist on the tail is because actually most, if not all, lures are made and tank tested with trebles instead of singles. So you actually get to make it swim way better with trebles. It does. I mean, singles not going to affect a lot, but they do swim a lot better with, or pop better with trebles.
I also want to add something to Paul, which I learned from the Japanese angler when I fished with them in the past. They adjusted to the idea of fishing singles, and to make the lure swim better, they added weight on the belly.
Yeah. Small
You know,
little
you have those lead weight that we use for
Like,
it's not a split shot. It's almost like
Sinker.
like a teardrop.
Egg sinker.
sinker.
But they do come like in,
Small,
I think 14
like
gram, or if you're using assist and you use that, the lure swim amazingly, because now on the twitch, that lure is digging and making that wobble behind. And this is what you want. This is what's going to attract the fish. Again, don't be afraid of trying different things. You know, it doesn't mean I'm right always. You know, I gained that experience just by looking and putting things together from other people. So it's all about sharing intel. You know,
So
we learned it the hard way. There's no such right and wrong when it comes into this.
So if these fish are feeding, and you see them blowing up and breaching and all of that, is there actually a preferred technique when the action is that, you know, obvious, of popping versus jigging or versus?
But if they're on top, I would use a stick bait or a popper.
Definitely.
Yes. If they're milling and you see like one splash and down, they're staying in there a little bit shy. You know, there's days in North Carolina, 700 pounds. I'm not kidding you. is
They
10 feet,
splash.
10 feet in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, I took picture of them, 10 feet in the air, 700 pounds or 600 pounds. Is
Or if you're, you know, reading them on the stream, you know, 30 feet
Sinking.
down.
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about
If you know they are in the area,
If you see it.
and you don't
right?
see them, but you see them on the screen,
Yeah. You
Sinking.
just drop on them.
But that's the thing is like, you know, it's always good. Let's say you get to the area early in the morning, nobody's there, no action, nothing, you're marking them. It doesn't mean if you mark them in 50, 60 feet, they're not gonna take stick bait.
Hmm.
So, 3 guys, okay, one guy, you know, take a popper, one guy start with a stick bait, and one guy was
a jig.
the sinking stick bait.
Okay.
I mean, we had it, was out. You remember when we fished with Sean? You and I got one on the stick bait behind the scallop boat, right? He's like, I'm marking them. It was like, okay, boom, we got tied. I got tied and he got tied. We landed 2 fish on stick bait. Out of nowhere, there's nothing, no activity on top.
So you read them on the screen.
We let them on the screen. And sometimes
Even
you
if you
read them
don't
on the
read
screen,
them,
they're
yeah.
not feeding.
Even if you read them,
Yes.
you don't read them, but you know they are in the area, you can do the same. I've done it.
I fought with him. I fought with him on the first trip. I was begging him. You know, I went, he's like, he invited me on the trip and I was like, okay. I said, can I cast? He's like, yeah. I jumped on board and he's like, all torn in here. I was like, what am I doing? Okay. I've been in many trips like this one. But end of the day, look where he is right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Making videos.
yeah, not only that, it's like he's
It's only the
he's the mayor of Jigging and Paul. He's actually in Jersey between him and Mr. Pelican on the back. Okay, sinking stick baits.
So Dan, one question on the stick
Yes.
bait. Is there any technique to not have the birds come down and
Shoot the bird. Just kidding.
What we do is we use like heavy sinking stick baits.
That's your only option. And that's why when it came into the cave, because the boil was insane 2-3 years ago, and you put it right there, you know you're going to get bit, and as soon as that lure hit the water, that sucker comes in and take it, and the opportunity is gone, and they went down, and that's it. You know, you can get 1 or 2 opportunities. When I do, and I fished one time with Josh a couple of years, 3 years ago. You were with me on that day? Man, the fish were like acres and acres and acres of tuna everywhere. And with it, birds. And every single cast, no matter what it is, they've been going down 40, 50 feet and grabbing it.
Again, single.
We caught fish, but it was very, very, very agitating.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot more birds if you use trebles. So singles definitely.
That's the way with single as well. Is I really encourage to use single. You're not going to miss on the bite, and even if you miss, they come back. And remember something: those fish when they come in, very rarely it comes with 1 fish or 2 fish. They come in like a group, small group. 6 fish.
Even giants, when they come in, they can come in like 4, 5, 6 of them. Yeah.
I see guys, they'll come on the boat, so we always want to use singles just because of the tag and the release. But they'll come on the boat with 1 single in the back and a treble up front.
Mhm.
And they think that's sort of a midway thing, but the problem is the treble gets stuck in the eye a lot of times, and the tuna's eye is super fragile, so if the hook is stuck in that little thing, it's a big problem.
It's gonna get worse if you use poppers, because it drives them crazy. It makes them very aggressive, because whenever they see splashes on the surface to them, it's bait fish. And when bait fish crazy, it's free food, let's eat. And when that happens, that's exactly what's happened. They just slam or whatever that's moving, and the trebles usually get them in the eye, get them, anywhere. It's if possible, try refrain from using trebles. It's safe for yourself as well, because when you bring the fish on board.
It's easy, man. You don't want that. I've seen many accidents overseas. We just started the trip in New Caledonia the first day at that time. I was like, guys, barbless. At that trip, all the guys already knew. Why barbless? I said, barbless, that's it. That's how we fish.
It's for your own safety.
Barbless, we crush it. We're in the middle of nowhere, 360 nautical miles. You don't want to, I don't want that. I said, you're not going to lose a fish. You keep it tied, the boat will help you, no problem. After 2 hours of fishing, the mate himself end up with a trouble in his leg. Lucky it was barbless. We just forgot. I mean, think about it. Like, it's from a safety perspective. You don't want that trouble flying inside the boat.
Correct.
It's It happened. I mean, it happened. It happened with every one of us. We all end up with hooks. I was fishing with Josh 4 years ago. I don't know. No, it wasn't you. And Josh is gaffing the fish, and all of a sudden the treble end up in his hand, and he's screaming, "Sami, come on!" It ended up, we kept the fish, we brought it in, but the treble was stuck into his hand. So gotta be really, really careful with the treble.